Ekam aksharam hृदि nirantaram bhasati swayam likyate katham. हृदय कुहर मध्ये केवलम ब्रह्ममात्रम् यहम् इति साक्षात् आत्मरूपेण भाति. हृदि विषमसा स्वं किंवता मज्जता अनुचलनरूढ आत्मनिष्ठो भवत्वम्. देहं जडात्मकम् अहं बुद्धिर्न तस्यास्त्यतो नाहं तत्तभावशुद्धिसमये सिद्धात्मसद्भावः कुतो दृष्टात्मनिष्ठा सोऽहं स्फूर्तितया अरुणाचल शिवः पूर्णो विभाति स्वयं. सोऽहं स्फूर्तितया अरुणाचल शिवः पूर्णो विभाति स्वयं. नमो रमण. In this, the Thursday Satsang from Ramanacentre Center for Learning, it has been our practice to select two verses from the work Guru Vachakavai by Muruganar Swamigal. The verse selection is done randomly by Revatima. Each verse is read and the verse reading is followed by a short meditation on its meaning. And that is followed by the practice of self-enquiry for about 15 minutes. After these two segments of verse reading, meditation on meaning, and the practice of self-enquiry, Atma Vicharam, are completed, there will be summing up remarks by Venkatesh Deshpande ji, and that will be followed by the offering of Sri Ramana Stotram. The chanting will be by Vaibhavji and Prarthnama online, and the floral offerings will be by Manjunath ji from right here. We begin the satsang by going to the first verse selected for us, the verse number 1139. Yeah, 1139. This is from the segment Experience of the Truth. Verse number 1139. The subsegment is the Jivan Mukta, the one who is free of the Jiva Bhava. The Jivan Mukta, freedom from the limited consciousness, the bound consciousness. Verse number 1139. If it is asked, we actually see the jnani performing actions. How can actions be performed in the absence of the sense of doership? You should be convinced that because his inner attachment, the ego, is dead, he has God himself residing in his heart and performing those actions. If it is asked, those who are around Bhagavan and those of us who read Bhagavan's biography and the day-to-day living, if we ask, we actually see and we read that the jnani was performing actions like eating idlis, walking up the hill, all those things. How can actions be performed in the absence of sense of doership? Then you should be convinced that because his inner attachment, the ego, is dead, he has God himself residing in his heart and performing those actions. So when the ego is annihilated in the flowchart of enquiry and one is abiding in the spurana, the one who is making everybody act is known to do the actions in this body also. The jnani knows the source. Actually, in everyone, it is only the Ishvara who is making the actions to happen. He releases the I thought as well as the other thoughts that the I thought has to have. But somehow, because of doership, the I thought feels that I have generated these thoughts out of my own intelligence and I am carrying out and I am achieving these things. That is the false doership that the ego is trapped in. But who is the Jivan Mukta? The Jivan Mukta is one who has done enquiry and who has annihilated the ego in the flowchart of life when he goes in the reverse direction. For whom is this I thought? All the objective upadhis are dropped, and even time and space, fate and free will, these are all dropped, and the very ego principle is crossed, and Ishvara is experienced in his presence as the absolutely pure Atman. Ishvara's Atma Swarupa is being experienced there inside the Jivan Mukta. Then obviously all the actions that are happening, if at all they can be said to be happening, then they are happening by the power of Ishvara. That is only one way of describing the things. Whether any things are happening at all when one is experiencing Spurana is a right question to be asked. But then definitely there is no place for doership here because the arivu, the jnana, that no one is the doer here. Every I thought, our prarabdha prakara, அதற்கானவன் ஆங்காங்க இருந்து ஆட்டி வைப்பன். The root I, it releases the ego thought as well as the other thoughts to them, and the ego thought has this temerity to feel that it is generating those thoughts and it is using the senses and it is achieving things. When we go in the reverse direction and the ego surrenders and is completely dismantled, we clearly understand that it is the Ishvara Shakti that alone is the real doer. In fact, the entire principle of doership is completely absorbed in the Spurana. Therefore, the Jivan Mukta state cannot be explained, they say, that you can only go there and be that, but it cannot be explained. But definitely what you are seeing as the movement of the body of the Jivan Mukta, has no doer within. Bhagavan says it is like the radio. The Jivan Mukta is like the radio. Is there any person inside the radio? Some wave originated somewhere. It is playing through the radio. Like that, the Ishvara Shakti is free to operate in its absolute purity as the Upadhis are rid of the feeling I am the body. That is the explanation given by Muruganar Swamigal. Let us sit in Atma Vichara for the next 15 minutes, where this ego is completely dismantled without any remnants, without any balance or residue left. We'll request Ujjwalji to set the time for us. Namo Ramana, sir.
Namo Bhagavate Shri Ramanaya.
Namo Ramana. We continue by taking the next verse selected for us, verse number 1 to 16. 1 to 16. This is also from Experience of the Truth. That is the third portion of the book. The first two portions being investigation into truth, and the second portion being uh, meditation on the truth. The third portion is experience of the truth. 1 to 16, we find in the subsegment Brahman. The subsegment is Brahman. 1 to 16. Those who pay attention to the many, many moving images will not see the one unmoving screen that supports them. Those who pay attention to the many, many moving images will not see the one unmoving screen that supports them. Conversely, those who pay attention to the one unmoving screen will not see even a few of the images. Conversely, those who pay attention to the one unmoving screen will not see even a few of the images. This is the inherent nature of the cinema show in a theatre hall where people congregate. Here, the theatre hall is the creation, and we have all congregated here. The viewers are also part of the cinema here. And if the viewers have the proclivities, the vasanas, to be carried away by the multiplicity of images going on, then the viewer will not be able to focus on the screen, the Satchit, their own I, which is ever present. The time and place and the various inert objects and living objects and human beings on the screen are all changing, are all multiple. But the one gold which is appearing as these many ornaments, that one gold is the I. And when one is focused on that, Bhagavan says, when one is doing this job, then one will not have the time or inclination to get carried away by the multiplicity. In Ulladu Narpadu, Bhagavan says that Nanavam Jnanam Ajnanamam. Whenever you see many, you should understand that you are in Ajnana. Because the truth is one. And how to see that screen, which is the existence consciousness? For whom is this seeing of many things? For me. Who am I? That our own existence and the consciousness of our existence, when they come together, that is the screen. That existence consciousness is the screen on which all Nama Rupa, including our own, are playing as a cinema show. And what Bhagavan is saying, pay attention to the ever-present screen, your own existence consciousness, the source of your I thought, which is ever-present. Kala is changing. The places are changing. The people are changing. But your own source of the I to which you can attend to is unchanging. That existence and consciousness of that existence consciousness is the screen. Pay attention to the unchanging screen, then obviously there will not be any kind of sorrows, any kind of miseries, because the truth that there is only the existence consciousness will set one free. The identification shifted from the ego to the screen, to the existence consciousness, will set the Jiva Bhava free, and one identifies with the Brahman. One identifies with the Atma Swarupa, which is not other than Brahman. And that is where the practice of Atma Vicharam takes us. It takes us away from perception of multiple images to the screen. Every time you still the eye, you are touching the screen. You are moving away from the multiplicity. And this is the one sadhana, the stilling of the eye, that can break this maya, this cinema show, which appears as viewer and the viewed, the seer and the seen. But the seer and the seen are actually only the screen. The screen itself has arisen to apparently give this imagery. Once the ego settles, all the objects settle, and one can see only the screen. There are no objects to be seen. That is where Atma takes us to the Brahmanishta or the Atmanishta. With effort it takes initially, but that effort itself will burn away all the proclivities towards the images, and one effortlessly abides in the Atma Swarup. Let's sit in Atma Ucharam, and we will request Ujjwalji again to set the time for us. Ujjwalji, Namo Ramana.
नमो भगवते श्रीरमणाय।
Namo Ramana. May I request Venkatesh ji to give us the summing up remarks? Namo Ramana, sir.
Namo Ramana. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwara, Gurur Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Jnanamulam Gurur Murti, Pujamulam Gurur Padam, Mantramulam Gururvakyam, Mokshamulam, Gurur Kripaha, Mokshamulam, Guru. Two very interesting verses have been chosen. The first is about the Jnani. So, we've all now recently been reading about this self-driving car. A self-driving car. There's a car. If you book a car, the car will come in front of you. Now, what is there? There is no driver. When there's no driver, then there is no ego. Then what happens? When the car comes, it will just stop. You will open the door and get into the car, and the car will drive by itself. Now, the car goes from one place to another based on whatever the bookings are. Is there any sense of doership for the self-driving car? Absolutely no sense of doership at all. And there's no attachment to the ego. If there's a driver, just now I came for 2 hours from within Bangalore with all the crazy traffic. There was so much of traffic all the way. But a self-driving car, absolutely the driver is missing. There's no driver at all. So who's performing the job in the self-driving car? The self, that intelligence which is there in the car is actually performing. A jnani is exactly like that, a self-driving car. A jnani does not think whether he has to do this job, he has to do that job, whatever that self tells him. It's like the intelligence of the self-driving car. Whatever is to be done, the jnani will just do. He will do the performance. Like the car, if it has to go and pick up somebody from one place and take it to some other place, it will be done. But no ego. Absolutely. The driver is not there in the self-driving car. Exactly the same thing for a jnani. A jnani, there is absolutely no ego, a sense of doership at all. But for an onlooker, he'll think, oh, the Jnani is doing this job, he looks like me only, he's doing this job, he's doing that job. But he is actually doing nothing. That intelligence, the self within, is only the doer. So the second verse was also very beautiful. It talks about the objects. Now, in a self-driving car, does it care about how many cars are there, whether it's a red zone in front, whether it's a blue? If you put on your Google map, it will say there's a red zone. Oh, there's a 5-minute break, slower traffic, or there's a vehicle that's broken down. Does a self car think about that? No, it does not see the objects at all. Where is it abiding? It is Atmanishta. It is abiding in the self-intelligence. The cameras may be doing whatever it is, getting the information. Where is the intelligence? What is it relying on? It's relying on that intelligence that is in that car, that self-driving car. So it's always with the non-moving. It's never with the moving. So this is something we have to learn from the self-driving car. If you are all the time looking at objects, then what happens? You get affected. You see what is happening. Is this big car, small car, that cow is there, this, that. For a self-driving car, it does not matter at all. So for all of us, we should become like the self-driving car. When you are in the self, then you are a self-driven person. That's what we all need to be. Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramanaya. Namo Ramana.
Namo Ramana sir. Thank you very much. May I request Vaibhavji and Pratnama to do the chanting? Manjunathji will do the floral offering from here. Namo Ramana.
रमण भारद्वाज विश्वनाथ विरचितं श्रीरमणाष्टोत्तर शतनामावलिः अपार सच्चित् सुखवारिराशे यस्योर्मिमात्रं भुवनं समस्तं गुहाहितं तं रमणं गभीरं चिन्ताविहीनं हृदि चिन्तयामि। ॐ महासेन महंसेन जाताय नमः। ॐ श्रीरमणाय नमः। ॐ गुरवे नमः। ॐ अखण्ड संविदाकाराय नमः। ॐ महौजसे नमः। ॐ कारणोद्भवाय नमः। ॐ जगद्हितावताराय नमः। ॐ श्रीभूमिनाथस्थलोस्थिताय नमः। ॐ पराशरकुलोत्तंसाय नमः। ॐ सुन्दरार्यतपःफलाय नमः। ॐ कमनीयसुचारित्राय नमः। ॐ सहायाम्बा सहायवते नमः। ॐ शोणाचलमहोलीनमानसाय नमः। ॐ स्वर्णहस्तकाय नमः। ॐ श्रीमद्द्वादशान्तमहास्थले लब्धविद्योदयाय नमः। ॐ महाशक्तिनिपातेन प्रबुद्धाय नमः। ॐ परमार्थविदे नमः। ॐ तीव्राय नमः। ॐ पितृपदान्वेषिणे नमः। ॐ इन्दुमौलिना पितृमते नमः। ॐ पितुरादेशतः शोणशैलं प्राप्ताय नमः। ॐ तपोमयाय नमः। ॐ उदासीनाय नमः। ॐ महायोगिने नमः। ॐ महोत्साहाय नमः। ॐ कुशाग्रधिये नमः। ॐ शान्तसङ्कल्पसंरम्भाय नमः। ॐ सुसन्दृशे नमः। ॐ सवित्रे नमः। ॐ स्थिराय नमः। ॐ तपक्षपितसर्वाङ्गाय नमः। ॐ पुल्लाम्बुजविलोचनाय नमः। ॐ चन्द्रिकासितहासश्रीमण्डिताननमण्डलाय नमः। ॐ च्यूतवाट्यां समासीनाय नमः। ॐ चूणिताखिलविभ्रमाय नमः। ॐ वेदवेदान्ततत्त्वज्ञाय नमः। ॐ चिन्मुद्रिणे नमः। ॐ त्रिगुणातिगाय नमः। ॐ विरूपाक्षगुहावासाय नमः। ॐ विराजदचलाकृतये नमः। ॐ उद्दीप्तनयनाय नमः। ॐ पूर्णाय नमः। ॐ रचिताचलताण्डवाय नमः। ॐ गम्भीराय नमः। ॐ परमाचार्याय नमः। ॐ सुप्रसन्नाय नमः। ॐ अभयप्रदाय नमः। ॐ दक्षिणास्य निभाय नमः। ॐ धीराय नमः। ॐ दक्षिणाभिमुखाय नमः। ॐ स्वराजे नमः। ॐ महर्षये नमः। ॐ भगवते नमः। ॐ ईड्याय नमः। ॐ भूमविद्याविशारदाय नमः। ॐ विमलाय नमः। ॐ दीर्घदर्शिने नमः। ॐ आत्ताय नमः। ॐ ऋजुमार्गप्रदर्शकाय नमः। ॐ समदृशे नमः। ॐ सत्यदृशे नमः। ॐ सत्याय नमः। ॐ प्रशान्ताय नमः। ॐ अमितविक्रमाय नमः। ॐ सुकुमाराय नमः। ॐ सदानन्दाय नमः। ॐ मृदुभाषिणे नमः। ॐ दयार्णवाय नमः। ॐ श्रीशोणाचलऋद्बोधस्कन्दाश्रमनिकेतनाय नमः। ॐ सद्दर्शनोपदेष्ट्रे नमः। ॐ सद्भक्तवृन्दपरिवृताय नमः। ॐ गणेशमुनिभृङ्गेन सेविताङ्घ्रिसरोरुहाय नमः। ॐ गीतोपदेशसारादिग्रन्थसञ्चिन्न संशयाय नमः। ॐ वर्णाश्रममतातीताय नमः। ॐ रसज्ञाय नमः। ॐ सौम्याय नमः। ॐ आत्मवते नमः। ॐ सर्वावनिमतस्थानाम् आराध्याय नमः। ॐ सर्वसद्गुणिने नमः। ॐ आत्मारामाय नमः। ॐ महाभागाय नमः। ॐ मातृमुक्तिविधायकाय नमः। ॐ विनताय नमः। ॐ विनुताय नमः। ॐ विप्राय नमः। ॐ मुनीन्द्राय नमः। ॐ पावकोज्ज्वलाय नमः। ॐ दर्शनादगसंहारिणे नमः। ॐ मौनेन स्वात्मबोधकाय नमः। ॐ ऋच्चान्तिकरसान्निध्याय नमः। ॐ स्मरणाद्बन्धमोचकाय नमः। ॐ अन्तस्तिमिरचण्डांशवे नमः। ॐ संसारार्णवतारकाय नमः। ॐ शोणाद्रिशस्तुतिद्रष्टे नमः। ॐ हार्दविद्याप्रकाशकाय नमः। ॐ अविच्युतनिजप्रज्ञाय नमः। ॐ नैसर्गिकमहातपसे नमः। ॐ कमण्डलुधराय नमः। ॐ शुभ्रकौपीनवसनाय नमः। ॐ गुहाय नमः। ॐ दण्डपाणये नमः। ॐ कृपापूर्णाय नमः। ॐ भवरोगभिषग्वराय नमः। ॐ स्कन्दाय नमः। ॐ देवतमाय नमः। ॐ अमर्त्याय नमः। ॐ सेनान्ये नमः। ॐ पुरुषोत्तमाय नमः। ॐ श्रीरमण भगवते नमः। श्रीरमणाष्टोत्तरशतनामपूजां समर्पयामि। यस्थानोररुणाचलस्य पदयोः स्मृत्या जनिं प्राप्यत दिव्यानुग्रहसुप्रवाहविवशस्तादात्म्यभावं गतः हृन्निष्ठस्वगभीरनित्यतपसा लोकान् पुनासेकराट् तस्मै श्रीरमणाय ते नम इदं लोकोत्तरज्योतिषे। ॐ नमो भगवते श्रीरमणाय।
नमो 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 सदाशिव प्रभावाय नमो महर्षि नमो महर्षि दर्शन सुखमंगलम सकल जीवन ब्रह्मचर्य नमो 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 सदाशिव प्रभावाय नमो महर्षि ब्रह्म नमो 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 रमण सदाशिव प्रभावाय नमो नमो बोलो भगवान श्री रमणमूर्ति की जय।
ನಮೋ ರಮಣ ಅಕ್ಕ, ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ನಮೋ ರಮಣ.